from Shreveport, Louisiana. I was doing school reports on Lead Belly when I was in seventh grade, I guess. And it's well known to Shreveporters that Lead Belly spent a whole lot of time there. We kind of claim him. You know, that was one of his hometowns, along with Oral City and Mooringsport and Texarkana and all East Texas and all around in there. And he's buried not far from Shreveport, near the Texas border. A bunch of Texans wanted to dig him up and plant him in Texas so that they could say he's buried in Texas. Luckily enough Louisianians went up in arms about that. So that would be why we honored him with a statue. Also, there's a badass part of town where, in the old South, where they put the black people in the low-lying part of town where all the mosquitoes and everything were the worst, and they always called it the bottoms. Well, in about 20 years ago, in an effort to raise pride and awareness and put a different face on that neighborhood, they renamed it Ledbetter Heights rather than the Bottoms. I do a solo piano gig, and I play Goodnight, Irene just about every solo gig. I kind of try to break the mold of, just playing Girl from Ipanema and all that, which I cannot play very well at all. But, I throw in Lead Belly and rootsy numbers and that kind of thing, kind of change the idea of the cocktail pianist a little bit, hopefully. And I think people are pretty accepting of it. And whenever I hit Goodnight Irene, I hardly ever sing it, but I'll just play it. Everybody has instant recognition, and they raise their fist up in the air, turn around and say, "Yeah, buddy," or whatever, Just about anybody from any walk of life relates to that song. They love it. It's in their DNA. They instantly know that tune when they hear it. That and Midnight Special. I was born and raised in Shreveport. Very interesting scene up there. Lafayette people don't really know how culturally diverse and rich it can be up there, or at least it was growing up. For me, you had the Louisiana Hayride, which came before the Grand Ole Opry. So you had all this country western and western swing. You had an incredibly strong chitlin circuit. So B.B. King and Freddie King and Bobby Bland, all those kind of folks were coming through. You had a strong gospel circuit as well, black and white. And you had the Bossier Strip across the river, which was a neon lit hotbed, sin, vice, alcohol, B-girls, and music. All kinds of musicians came through there and played. I hear Johnny and Edgar Winter used to play there right under my 14-year-old nose. I wasn't hip to it yet. But as I came of age, the Bossier Strip kind of petered out. I grew up soon enough to go play a few of the joints there and all that, but it used to be just a sightseeing drive to see all the neon and everything. So consequently, you had this incredibly strong musicians union, Local 116. It was one of the three strongest unions in the country. It was huge. It was before Right to Work. I've heard rumors that there could be some union boys with some baseball bats show up if a club wasn't in line, or if a club owner tried to stiff a union musician. We had a very colorful union boss president named Pappy Hogan, just old school, bottle of Old Crow on the desk and a 44 revolver in the top drawer, and called the musicians his boys. And they could make a mini series on that guy. But yeah, Local 116 had great parties, and Right to Work kind of took some wind out of the sails. But with all the strong symphony, the Bossier Strip, the clubs, the juke joints, everything, the Louisiana Hayride, there was just a lot of music there. And Shreveport being such a crossroads between north, south, east, and west, a lot of people came through there. They had a really strong soul R&B radio station, KOKA, and colorful disc jockeys, and a very, very strong music store and company. There was Paula Ron Records, Stan Lewis, Stan the Record Man. He had a lot of diverse talent under his labels. And so not only did you have a record label, but you had a record outlet right there. And there was also just countless music stores downtown. As a kid, we used to ride the trolley downtown just so we could go hopping around to all the different music stores and play on their combo organs and, blow up their amps and all that stuff, till they'd kick us out. We'd go down a half a block to another music store and just hang out. Yeah, fifth grade. It was a very bad song, but we wrote it. I wrote it so that we could put on a show for my buddy's babysitter when I spent the night at his house. That was my first song, and I'm not going to go there as far as telling you how it went. But it was derivative. It was pretty much a ripoff. Like, if I were to sing myself out of prison, that's something that a lot of performers deal with on a regular basis, in a way. Because say you've got an audience and you've written a few hundred some odd songs, but you've only got time to do one or two songs for this audience. What are you going to do? It depends. So in a way, that's how am I going to sing myself out of this prison? I don't know if that makes sense or not, but trying to decide the song to sing for that moment, whether it be how do I do my best to win over a hostile audience, or how do I get myself out of this prison? I don't know. I think since we're singing for some inmate brothers, it's nothing too heavy, or I don't think they're going to be looking for anything spiritual from me that day, or something that'll save the world, or anything like that. I think just, something that a bunch of old boys can relate to, myself included, or I never would have written them. So, just kind of based in the blues. Here's a little song I wrote that I think I'll do at the prison. It's called My Baby Pulled an Inside Job. 9, but I never dreamed my baby would commit a brazen crime. No, she never heisted no jewels. Ain't no liquor store the little girl could rob. But while I was out working hard, my baby, she pulled an inside job. She swore that she would help me to be the best man I could be. She swore that she would help me to be the best man I could be. But in our very home, she made a monkey out of me. No, she never heisted no jewels. Ain't no armored car the little girl could rob. But while I was out working hard, my baby, she pulled an inside job. Signs of forced entry, but in the bedroom you could see that the crime was perpetrated in the first degree. There was no homicide. No bank or liquor store was robbed. She was satisfied. My baby, she pulled an inside job. There was lots of DNA right where her negligee was at. The evidence made clear her accomplice was a rat. I said it was an inside job. And here I thought I was the lucky one. I bet the judge would pay good money to see that inside job she done. That's the inside job. You know, I don't mean to cop out on you, but I just don't go talking about that a whole lot. You know, there are people that devote their entire lives to be able to talk about that kind of thing on camera and to wide audiences, and I don't really claim to know a whole lot about that. I know that you can make your own heaven or hell right here on earth in this very moment, on this very day, whatever. And I just just try to do the best I can, you know. I read the good book, read lots of good books, and I read about that kind of thing, and I'm still kind of a work in progress when it comes to all that. Just try to be a good man. Don't make a hell for anybody if I can help it. If I can give somebody a little bit of heaven, I'll do that. But, as far as the great beyond, I kind of think there's something else out there. I kind of think there's a heaven world where you'll get to see your old papa and some of your favorite folks and say hello to Elvis or whatever. And I think it's quite possible that we get to come back and do it again and again. That's my own thought on it. Kind of Eastern, I guess. Kind of metaphysical. Kind of all that. But then, you know, that's about it. Yeah, not too bad. I've never been thrown in a cell. Never spent the night in jail. I've sure had the cuffs whooped on me a few times, but you know, on the side of the road mostly. But never went to jail. I've had troopers stop me in the van that I was riding in, full of musicians, and we were bone clean, you know. And they would take us out and handcuff us and tell us this is for your own protection and ours, and let us stand there handcuffed while they tore the van apart, you know, looking for contraband or whatever. And I did have a little incident in high school where I had some seeds back behind the seat, and you know, I convinced them that I didn't know where in the world those things came from. And they kind of knew I was full of it, but they released me to the custody of my weary mom and dad. Who, my mom recognized the jar, I think, but hey, you know, nothing serious. I ain't out to rob nobody or steal anything or murder nobody or pull any capers or traffic any dope or anything. You know, it's not much chance I'm gonna get thrown in jail. I just want to play music, write songs, and provide a little levity for the people, you know. One time I volunteered to go and play some music during lunch at a soup kitchen, and I thought, yeah, this is gonna be cool, you know. And they hated me to pieces because they had to turn the TV down and they were gonna miss General Hospital or something that they like to watch while they're eating. So, you know, they couldn't wait till I finished up this crap and got out of there so they could turn the TV back up, you know. So goes culture. I would like to stay humble about it. But you know, sometimes I can turn people on, and boy, that really turns me on. That makes me feel like I took the right path in life. Other times, like the day I mentioned at the soup kitchen, or you know, just could be a night somewhere. I'm doing a club somewhere. I just have to tell myself, well, Ray Charles had nights like that too, and he did. So you can't forget that, you know. You can you can lead a horse to water and all that, you know. So sometimes it's going to be pearls before swine. Uh, you know, some record guy or somebody has some bright idea to put you in a bookstore during Jazz Fest and go play your material, but you're all the way out in Metairie somewhere, and you're you're playing to a bunch of indifferent people in the coffee shop, and then it's like, well, what am I doing here? Those kind of things that, man, you gotta be ready for that kind of thing. You can't be thin blooded in this business. You gotta be ready to take some of that kind of stuff, and you gotta be ready to duck sometimes. So uh, that's the way it goes. But then you never know. Other times you think you think this is just barely going well enough, and I don't really have the mojo going, but I'm going to depend on experience and professionalism to get me through this gig. And you just duke your way through it, and then it's over with, and somebody comes up and says, I am from Norway. That is the most incredible shit I've ever heard in my life. And hugging you, and people come up and say, dude, I mean, we're on our first date and we're like gonna get a room, thank you, You never know. And for all of those people who come up and share with you, there's gotta be scores of them that were too timid to come up and say something. So you never know. You might be touching somebody and not even know it, if you will. So I do the best I can. It's like this. I wasted plenty of time in my life. I knew that I was more musical, more talented than the average kid. But my discipline wasn't all that great for a large part of my life, and I was, smoking weed, drinking, chasing girls, getting into mischief, and just depending on my God-given gifts to get me through the gig or whatever the task at hand was. But now I just have a different view of it now. You get married and have a kid, things change, obviously. But I just feel like, you talk about heaven, a good idea of heaven is to have something that you really, really love to do. And you make a heaven out of doing your best to be as great at doing that thing you love to do as you can possibly be. That's what I didn't realize all through my 20s and 30s. I started getting a clue during my 40s. So right now, I'm, as far as all that goes, I'm just on fire, I know that I've got something that I love to do, and I've accumulated some skills at doing it, and right now I'm just in love with doing it and getting better and better at it. That's what I love to do, and that's heaven. Joe Cocker recorded a song called Please No More, which I got that from the racing program. It was the name of a horse. Thought would make a good title. I used to keep that as a dark secret, but now I welcome you. If you can make a song out of any horse name, knock knock yourself out. There's not just full of song ideas in a racing program, but Joe Cocker cut Please No More, and Percy Sledge cut First You Cry. John Mayall and Mavis Staples cut Wake Up Call. Johnny Adams cut a song called Even Now that I wrote with Buddy Flat. Also wrote First You Cry with Buddy Flat. Long time collaborator. Etta James came along and also cut Please No More, which I kind of find a cool pattern there because the great Bobby Charles, he had Joe Cocker and Etta James both cover The Jealous Kind. But he also had Ray Charles cover The Jealous Kind, and I didn't get that far with it. But anyway, there were songs on the Irma, Marsha, and Tracy record. They did Sing It One More Time Like That. They also did People Will Be People. The Fabulous Thunderbirds came along and covered People Will Be People. Solomon Burke, one of my favorite singers of all time. We just lost him a couple of weeks ago. He covered a song called Fading Footsteps and did a great job on that. Called me on the phone one day to tell me so. That was real special. I thought somebody's messing with me here, you know.
In a
That's Fading Footsteps.
Beautiful, man.
Thank you.
All right, you want to do that first one from the top, and we'll wrap.
Okay.
We're at 6 minutes till 3.
Okay.
We'll be done. And unless you think anything I left out that you want to throw on tape.
No, I'm.
Pause for 1 second. Egan, if you can stay in that position, I just want to double check.